perfectly in the middle. Now I'm off.
Well, we're live. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Washed Up. I'm Eric Mika, joined by my co-host, Mr. TJ Haws,
who's not in the screen, I guess.
Who can't figure out how to center himself.
I guess I'm off the screen.
Technologically challenged, but he's a good guy, so we'll keep him around. Most importantly, we're joined here by Justin Young, my favorite young brother.
There we go.
And the greatest of them all. I speaking of young brothers, is kind of a tangent, but I didn't know you had twin brothers in the family.
Yep.
And I went up to one after a game in Provo this year, so confident that we had met. And yeah, I was so embarrassed. He's like, I'm so sorry. Like, who are you?
That's funny.
And I was like,
That's
come
funny.
on, man, just pretend. And then I saw him at Fathers and Sons camp, and he was like, hey, dude, I've been thinking about you ever since, and I feel so bad. He's like, sometimes I just pretend, but like you caught me off guard. So I don't know which brother that was, but shout out to him, one of the twins.
It would be the greatest thing ever to be a twin, by the way. I feel like you could just...
Well, these twins are fraternal, so they look just enough to be identical, but they're fraternal.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, though. Like, I always thought the twins would be very beneficial, like, in a lot of ways. But
yeah,
sure.
I mean, I always thought that because you have like kind of a built-in friend. You know, if you play a sport, you have like someone you could practice with. But then also, like, I don't know, there's like a competition part to having siblings, and having one like that looks just like you and everyone thinks is you. And if they're slightly better or worse at something than you, that'd be hard.
So one of the traits of the Youngs is that we run our mouths a lot. And you would think, so here's an awesome jab for both of them. You think both of them would have been better athletes given they had a training partner their entire life, and they were not. So that's on them.
That's great. Well, that was a tangent, but welcome to Justin Young, head of recruiting at BYU right now with the men's basketball team. His brother Kevin is obviously the head coach. BYU's on a tear right now, so we're excited to have you. Two touch points I wanted to hit on. One, you didn't love the promotional picture we put up. You said this thing has come back to bite me in the butt.
It has. Well, it was me and Kyle Sturdivant. So I've known Kyle Sturdivant, who's one of our GAs on our staff, our grad assistants. Kyle was a high school player, played at all my events. His high school coach and I are very, very close. I love Kyle to death, like a little cousin. And so we're both from Atlanta. We're both very proud Atlanta guys. And so the camera caught us, so we threw down the A-Town down sign. And then that's been the picture that has haunted me everywhere I've gone.
The beardless picture.
Yeah, it was just, there was a lot of pieces to that. You could see why I have a beard, given that photo. So yeah, it's just chased me around, and I regret it.
Well, people say I think it's great. I think the A-Town down is great. People say that the beard is like makeup for men, and I think that's enough argument enough to lift the beard ban. Like, look at us, all three of us have beards, because I mean, TJ's super ugly. I'll admit that. I will not call you ugly, Justin. I'm ugly. TJ's ugly, and the beard helps. Maybe, I don't know. My mom doesn't think so. So
my oldest daughter is deep into college. Okay, and she's never seen me without a beard until I got this job. So I've been a bearded guy my whole life. Yeah. So
she's like, "Who are you?"
Truly,
who's this guy?
Shocking. Truly. Yeah, it's shocking. And then the second piece I wanted to hit on was I was told you're a big Nolan Ryan fan.
Let's go. The single greatest pitcher of all time. I was talking to somebody about it the other day. 5,700. I mean, I could really lay it all out. But when we grew up in Dallas, I went to every Nolan Ryan Texas Ranger baseball game there was. And so we lived like 10 minutes from the stadium. And man, I loved it. And the guy, I think I'm his age now when he retired, which is just crazy to me, because I have a hard time just getting out of bed without something breaking. So like to think that he could throw like 100 miles an hour this deep in his career is pretty remarkable. But yeah, dude, I'm a huge Nolan Ryan guy for sure.
I sent you a picture. I went to like this panel thing last week on Thursday that your brother was speaking on, and afterwards I was like, I sent a picture to Justin. He's coming on the show. He's like, ask him about Nolan Ryan. Like that. I was like, give me something. I wanted something funny, like some some kind of fight that is perpetuated in the Young family, and he was like, "Nah, I don't really have anything off the top of my head. Just asking about Nolan Ryan." I was like,
"No, I mean, like,
he was really excited too."
Yeah, I mean, I would argue one of the reasons why we're such competitive guys is because of Nolan. Like that dude was such a competitor and like just an absolute grinder. Like we were there for his 5,000 strikeout. I was there for one of his no hitters. I was there for his 300th win. I mean, like you go down, I think I'm on the road for that one. Like I was a big Nolan Ryan guy. So like the guy was so competitive. Obviously, the Robin Ventura headlock fight. Like the guy took a fastball off the lip, split his face open, kept pitching and blood all over himself. Like the guy's an absolute warrior. So like for me, like yeah, like I love that dude. I love how that guy's wired. Like that guy's, I mean, the guy's still like roping bulls. The guy's in his 80s. So I mean, like that's I'm about that kind of mindset for sure. He's going. Yeah.
Well, going. Speaking of competitiveness, Eric and I were we were at Fathers and Sons a couple weekends ago, and it was KY and his group came rolling in, and we were in the 5-on-5 section. And so, we're watching all these dads playing 5-on-5, and I was actually shocked to see KY jump in, but then he was cooking too. He started getting to his like little hezzy pull up, and he was making shots. He was getting competitive. So I'm curious to hear your side of all that. You say the brothers are competitive. Did you guys go at it together a little bit? And
well, he was always better. He was always better. So like that was frustrating. Like I've always joked that we've always been in different weight classes, so it's never really been fair. But like as far as the hoopers, he's definitely the best hooper of the family. The rest of us, the good Lord made us like all football bodies, and so I don't know how the rest of us got screwed out of that physique, but he got it. We actually just played 3-on-3 like this past weekend with like some of the nephews and then my brother-in-law, and yeah, it started out as fun, but like of course you had to like best out of 3, and then
best out of 7.
Yeah, we were all feeling it. So yeah, it hasn't changed. But Kevin's a hooper though, man. He always has been. He's smooth with that shot, and he's a good player. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. He started pulling it out, and I was like, "Holy cow, this is pretty nice."
Yeah, he's got some game.
He was getting after it, and I jumped in there a couple of times. I told TJ this. It's so funny because like my knee is shot. Like it hurts to. I can run a little bit, but like if I try and jump or change direction, it kills. But like I've barely touched the ball in the last year and a half. I'm like the most out of shape I've ever been. And then these dads come roll the ball out, and I just couldn't resist. I'm like, I have to.
So like I have to show these dads what I'm made of, who I was.
Yeah, exactly. I had to be the hero, like Brian Santiago says. But I'm out there playing, and there was like a questionable like tip ball that went out of bounds, and KY was like pointing one direction, I was pointing the other direction, and then I was like I was joking obviously, and I was like, oh, I did, because I talk when I get out there, all I do is talk to everybody. I'm the most annoying guy, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize KY was a liar, like something like that. And he looked at me like, what is wrong with this guy? Like
he's like, get out of this camp.
I was like, I don't know you like that, and I was like, yeah, that probably wasn't the time, but
that's funny.
I just like to get after it as well.
You're on his bad list now, bro.
That's never going to change, man. I think we'll always. I think we all operate at the same wavelength when it comes to competitiveness, for sure.
No, well, we like that. Like I said, you guys are on a tear right now. It goes without saying the incredible season you guys had, and this momentum. It's tangible. All anyone wants to talk to TJ and I when we're out and about is about this team and what we think and what we see the future being, and is this the standard, and all these things that are just fun to talk about and fun to stay tapped in with. And as we thought about, okay, well, what do we want to talk to Justin about? And we have some live comments on the side. Kakalaki Coog said he needs that hat, but this is like one of, I don't know how many they made, but it's the Sweet 16 edition. So I don't know. He'll have to get one next year, right? Like that's
right.
Maybe
we get a better version of it.
Yeah, we'll set that standard. But one thing that I wanted to know, and obviously TJ's on the same page, and you probably gotten every single one of these questions a million times, but like your role, like everyone kind of knows what it is. Obviously I do. You and I have spoken on the phone at length about a couple of different guys, which has been fun for me, again, to just kind of be connected in a small way. I saw there's an Italian kid that maybe we're talking to right now, a big 7-footer, which kind of got me excited. It'd be nice to to re-up on the Italian. I'm getting a little rusty, but I'd love to hear for everyone in general, just like your role. But for me, when you get into the nitty gritty, is like, what does a day look like for you? Like, you roll out of bed and do what? Like, that's something that I don't even know. And it'd be super interesting to hear. Obviously, it probably changes depending on portals open, portals closed, in season. But like, what does the day look like for you, and how different is it depending on what part of the season it is?
Yeah, so it does. It varies on the season for sure. And based on like there's a portal recruiting season, there's retention recruiting season, there's high school recruiting season. Sometimes it's just general evaluation season. There's international, like the calendars are all kind of different. So right now we are obviously in the high school stuff, and so we've got the high school team camps are coming up next week, which our staff or the NBA Players Association camp is actually this weekend, so they'll be out. Some of our guys will be down in South Carolina for that. And then we've got like the high school team camps. That there's one in Arizona. The week after, the one in Southern California. There's one in Texas. There's a couple of big ones back east, one down in the south. So like those are very. They've changed it around from when you guys played. June now is actually a huge piece. Back in the day, you'd kind of take a break from playing with your travel team. You go back to, Lone Peak, and you guys would play, probably a local thing, and then maybe like a university, you'd go on a trip to a university for a team camp, and you kind of lay low until you hit the road again for Vegas or whatever it may be.
Yep.
Obviously, it's changed a lot now, where recruiting is not as spring heavy as it was when you guys were playing, and so now it's very different. It's May with your travel team, June with your scholastic team, July back with your travel team, and then you kind of get into visits and stuff. And so for me right now, a lot of it is just really staying up on the high school guys. We can start to reach out to the 2027 kids June 15th. So a lot of it's just preparing for that, like who's going to be a target, which is weird because we're so focused kind of 1 year at a time now in recruiting, and high school stuff isn't anything close to what it was when you guys were playing. Like when you guys played, like it was everything. Now it's a piece of it, but obviously the portal has really dictated a lot of that. And then, naturally, you're just trying to stay ahead of it. For me, like I'm a big information guy, so like I'm constantly trying to, gather as much information as I can, because now in recruiting, it's not so much about your entry point with the player, like when you actually get them onto campus. It's about how much you know about them, what are their tendencies, what are your starting points. Like here's my evaluation when he was a junior in high school. Here's my evaluation after his freshman year in college, and like where's our improvement, where's our consistencies, and like really like a real big data model of who he is. Now data is so readily available on a lot of different levels. That part really helps. But for us at BYU, we have a lot of built-in filters. Are you, what's your character like? What's your family like? Are you about the things that we're about every day, around campus, about what the mission of the school is? And like that's a huge piece of it, right? Like, we're really bringing in some high character people that aren't of the faith, which I actually really like a lot. And it's like a nice diverse group. It's a nice diverse locker room, on top of the guys that we already have. And obviously we need to stay on top of the guys that are in the faith, that are high level dudes, which there are a lot of guys coming up, which we're really excited about. And so it's just trying to figure out like how all those guys would blend together. And then our staff is pretty unique too. Like it's a pretty diverse staff. And so like you're just trying to really, I always kind of joke, like I feel like I'm on a dating show constantly, right? Like just matching people up. Like, does this personality trait mesh with this personality? It becomes to us,
Love Island.
Who's he going to match up with on the team, and like who's going to be his road roommate? All those different types of things. There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, because obviously talent's pretty easy, right? Like the three of us can go walk into a gym, right up the road and sit down for a team camp, and we all leave and go, "Oh, that kid 52 was really good." Like it's not that hard to like really kind of identify like who the top guys are. It's about their personality types. It's about what they're made of. It's about what their motivations are. It's about, a lot of things that kind of go into it. And so for me, 25 years of doing this, like that's really the part that I actually really enjoy, is trying to figure out that kind of stuff. So that's the now. When the portal season is up, obviously we're really paying attention to kind of what's going on in the college season, who's playing well, what do we need? And what we need as a team sometimes may be different on the 1st of the month and the 15th of the month and the 30th of the month. Like it just, you're kind of a victim or a I don't want to call it victim, but you're kind of at the mercy of whatever your last game was, right? And whatever you're. So we felt like we needed different things after we left Houston, and then we felt like we needed different things after we left Tucson. So like every game, you feel like you need something different. So that's kind of what we're doing now. But the commonality is I watch a ton of film, which I still have always liked. I'm a sicko. And a lot of it's just, man, you're just working the phones, just trying to develop and establish relationships, get information. So that's kind of the easy, long answer.
Yeah.
You mentioned something.
Oh, go ahead, Teach.
You mentioned something like an evaluation, like, hey, here was my evaluation after his junior year. He jumps in, here's my evaluation. I'm curious, are there guys where it's like, I really like him, we're gonna go after him after he transfers the first time, and you kind of just have like that database of like, we don't want him right away, but like he's on our radar completely because, you know, we just want to give him a year or two to, you know, get his feet under him in college basketball, and then we're going hard after him.
Yeah, and sometimes it's about opportunity, right? Like you know, I'm a big baseball. Going back, I'm a big baseball guy. So like the minor leagues, you think about that a lot. And so there's guys that are in the minor leagues, like, man, why isn't that guy in the majors? Well, maybe they have a guy at his position already that guy is going to come and just be like a utility guy. Well, that's not a benefit to that young guy. Like he needs to be on the floor. I mean, Eric, you know, from the G League, like there was a huge opportunity for guys in the G League to play and be on the floor versus going to a team and not playing every night. And so like, I think being on the floor has a lot to do with it. So I think, yeah, TJ, I think there are some situations where like, great, I'm really glad to see that player A signed with school B because I think he's in an opportunity. Those coaches are great. You know, there's a history there at that school where they help develop guys. You know, some programs now, like, you know, there's a couple of high-level coaches that I'm not playing any freshmen. And so you're seeing some schools not recruiting any freshmen at all. So, like, that's their philosophy, obviously. They want to kind of pay attention to the portal. Obviously, we like a blend of it. I mean, one of our most talented guys on the team next year hasn't played a game in college ever. So like, you know, it just depends, I think, a lot on the player too, and like their makeup of where they're at. But I think in college in general, most teams are trying to recruit old and stay old. So I think that does change the way that you compete. And then, you know, then you mix in the fact that the Big 12 is an MMA fight every game. So I mean, you got to have some dudes that can handle the physicality of it. And sometimes 18, 19, 20-year-old dude, it's a different ball game, man. Different ball game. So yeah, there is, that's a big part of it, TJ, for sure. Where you really want to recruit a guy, but just the actuality is that you want to do right by the player and his experience as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting because like BYU in general has always kind of had a unique recruiting strategy. You know, it's always been interesting. I remember when I committed to BYU, I was walking into Coach Rose's office, and I had never even none of this had ever even crossed my mind. I looked up on his board, and you know, back then it was 2012 maybe, and I looked up on the board, and like they're recruiting all the way out to like 2019 or something. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't even wrap my mind around that. You know, it was mind blowing to me. And so, but now everything has changed. I feel like there is still a piece of that, you know, at BYU where it's like, this is a mission guy, or, you know, there's some of that, but I feel like it's, correct me if I'm wrong, it's just becoming so year to year. It's like, we got to just focus on this next season.
It is, but to your point, I mean, that's why I do like the uniqueness of BYU, right? Like we're excited. We have Brooks Barr coming back. You know, Chamberlain Burgess is about to go on his mission after, you know, I think he's got his farewell coming up here in a couple of weeks before he goes to El Paso. And so like, yeah, I mean, that is a big part of it. But at the same time, like what BYU's done for years and years and years is relying on those guys 2 years after the fact, or 2.5 years after the fact they sign, they get them. I think a lot of teams now are like, oh, this is pretty great. You know, we got a 20, 21-year-old guy coming now. He's got 3 or 4 years to play. So it is kind of funny where now teams are like, oh, this is actually a pretty good idea. So, yeah, that is interesting. But we are for sure. I mean, it's a huge piece for us where you do have to balance that out and make sure you keep that part of it. But, yeah, you're just not recruiting as deep as you used to. You know what I mean? Like when I was doing all the national ranking stuff, like we would always like, you know, this was the time of year that we were preparing on like really understanding like the guys that were just the freshmen, rising sophomores. Now, like it's crazy to even like I couldn't tell you. Well, I probably could, but like, you know, most people in college staffs probably couldn't tell you the 5 best guys in their state, you know, that are at least high major guys. So
that's so
it's just a different animal.
Well, and I have like a million questions from the last 2 answers you gave, but like one of them is how do you build a contingency plan with everything, how fluid everything is, right? Like, and part of that plan, and the second part of the question, it's following up on what you said earlier about like, we want high character guys. because correct me if I'm wrong, but like some of these guys, I don't think have been on campus before they commit, right? Like, so obviously there's like a couple things that you guys are going like, man, we don't even need to meet this guy in person. We just know, because like the NBA, you talk about like, you know, I've talked to Danny about this for a while, but like, and he came and or I use this with the Ignite guys. Like when I show up for the Jazz pre-draft workout, he's got like a folder like that thick on everything, like my grades, and they've asked teachers about me and family. They just interview. It's like they hire a bunch of, you know, undercover agents to figure out like who are these people coming in that we're willing to put these millions of dollars into. But like it feels like they have time to do that. You wouldn't have time to do that. So you probably have that kind of like, you know, that guide internally that you have to figure out and feel out really, really quick. But it's more of like a snapshot gut take on, man, is this kid gonna mesh? And then, but then it's like, who knows? You might get a bigger offer somewhere else if all he cares about is money. You know, that's not who we're going for. But it's like, I don't know, how can you have a strategy? What is the contingency plan, and how do you find those kids like with all the moving parts?
It's pretty complicated. I mean, it's a puzzle with the smallest pieces for sure, right? And so you got it all laid on the table. You're just trying to figure out what's that little block I'm going to try and go after right now in the puzzle. And, you know, kind of to the point, I mean, you know, a lot of the stuff that we do is from an NBA level. Is intel's everything. And that's why I say, like, I'm on the phone a lot and we try to build up. I mean, we build 95% of stuff that we collect, we probably will never use, but we have it. So that's our contingency plan. So when we're in the portal and player A decides he's going to go somewhere else, well, we don't want player B and C. Like, we want to go all the way to Z. Like, we want to have options. We want to know what it's all about. And so we spend a lot of time really like building that stuff out. We do ask a lot of those similar questions that they do at the NBA level, and we're starting now to really kind of put together some of our own folders, for that matter, on guys where we've got some stuff. But that just takes time, and it just takes a lot of history, and a lot of patience, and a lot of just kind of knowing, like, it may not matter at the end of the day, but we still got to go out there and do it. We've got a great staff too, and like, you know, our staff is very involved from top to bottom in recruiting, which is really helpful. And so it's really nice. Like, we have so many different points of view, different points of contact, and like we're all seeing just different facets of the story for each guy, which is really, really helpful for a guy like me, where I just kind of collect it all to make sure we have it all in the same place.
Yeah, that's great. I was going to say, you know, we were texting and I said, hey, what do you want to talk about? You said, let's talk about our new guys. I don't want to take too much of your time, but tell us of these guys that, you know, I feel like AJ, rightfully so, gets a lot of hype. Everyone's out of their mind excited to watch him. He's incredibly talented. Who's a guy from the portal that you think will surprise some people?
I think Kennard Davis will, for sure, just probably because I don't think a lot of people have seen him. I mean, obviously, people know about Rob Wright. We've seen him in our building. The guy's tremendous. I thought he was the best point guard in the portal, regardless. So, like, I don't think he'll surprise anybody. I think we know what he is. I think Kennard will, just because I can't imagine too many people in our fan base is probably, you know, watching Missouri Valley games, right, or watching the Salukis.
Just the sickos.
Yeah, just the sickos, which I know there's some of us out there, which we all stick together. But Kennard's tough. I mean, 6'6", 215. So the physical part of it, we really like a lot. There's an athleticism to him that I think we didn't really have. He's unique in that regard, where if you look at our schedule and who we play, those road games really don't feel as much of a challenge when you have a guy like Kennard on your team, where, like, I mean, we wanted him specific because he can guard. And Kevin already really likes him as a guy that can guard. We loved his film. We loved talking to guys in his league. They raved about him. His three-point shooting every year got better, so we really like our development plan because we've seen what we can do with guys. I mean, just look at what happened with Whit-Mag, right? Like, we changed the shot diet altogether. We started taking better shots, and so it became really reliable. I mean, even look at, like, Trey, like, down the stretch, like, hit some big shots for us. And so I think, you know, like, that type of – he was awesome. I saw, by the way, like, some Instagram clip, like, maybe it's today, where he's like over at the Car Malone just getting buckets on dudes and just letting people know. I
saw that. I see you. CS events or whatever.
Yeah. Weekend taking no prisoners, taking no prisoners whatsoever.
Don't you love that? TJ and I were talking about that today, how, like, every offseason, you see it at every level, right? Like, every offseason you see like the Mitchell Robinsons of the world who just get clowned all year for not being skilled. And I mean, granted, he shoots like 50% free throws, but then he goes to the average lifetime gym and just murders. He's hitting step back threes, and it's every level, right? Like, I'm sure there's people out there that are like, oh, Trey's trash. I could do what he does because he's a role player. It's like, no, you couldn't. He's a D1 guy with like a 40-inch vertical. Like he's trashing the average basketball player, you know. So I saw that video. He had the hair out, the sweat.
Did Peyton Pritchard average like 102 points the month of July for like the last 7 Julys? Like summer leagues are hilarious for like players in the offseason. Just get this bucket all nonstop. TJ, you're probably that way. You probably got like a couple of 50 spots under your belt somewhere along the way in the summertime.
He likes it.
On Eric for sure.
Yeah, on Eric. I like it. But I think Moo will surprise a lot of people. I mean, he'll be a big part of our rotation. And I think the other part I like about it too, I mean, we've got, you know, I've said this before, but we've got a lot of guys that are interchangeable and guys that can guard multiple positions. I mean, there's a real emphasis on 2 things: guys that can guard and guys that can shoot. And like, I think if you look at all of our guys, and then really like we're big on length. We love length. Length really goes a long way. I think Dominique Diamande, I think we'll have a player or 2 here and there. You're just like, oh, we've never seen that before in Provo in a uniform at BYU. Like the guy's freaky.
Except TJ, but yeah, I agree.
Sure. So he's at a different category of athleticism that I'm excited to see. I think Hadim will. We were just talking before we went on air. There's a picture that went out today on our BYU men's basketball page where I don't even know what happened, but like Hadim's been working his tail off all summer. The guy was playing with like a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. So I think all of us on the staff are equally excited to see like everybody. Everything's on the table. Like there's nothing set. We're not married to any idea. We haven't had the whole team together at one point yet. So like it's not fair to like really say, because I think, you know, Brody, I think could come back out there. There's a big change from your freshman year, even though like from your freshman year to your sophomore year, just physically, like who you are as a person, your body, your understanding the speed of the game. Like I'm really excited to see with him. And so like there's just different guys, you know, Tyler Maruss, super exciting. Nate Pickens, super exciting. I mean, who am I forgetting? Like Xavier Staten's going to be exciting. Let's not forget we've got probably the most exciting guy back on our team. That's like Kevin. Every time the guy leaves the floor, like what is he going to do? So I mean, and then we got this guy Richie Saunders and Dawson Baker. Like you just go down the line. And I'm like, man, we're really talented.
So fun. So many different weapons.
It's super exciting.
We might need to double check you didn't miss anyone because someone's going to feel really bad.
I know. And what's like my kids, like I forget my kids' names this time of year. So they're like, Dad, you have a problem? I'm like, no, I just got a lot of kids. Forget.
You're like, you're not a 6'6" wing. I don't care about you right now. I'm sorry. I love you, honey, but like I just can't.
Yeah.
Get me your synergy clips and then we'll talk.
Put a sword together and we'll change your allowance. Like, let's see what you got. If you don't bring a good one together, we're not going to watch. So, I mean, I think practice will be really fun. I think our off season, our preseason will be really fun because I think there's a lot that I think the guys all know what's on the line too. You know what I mean? I think they understand the gravity of what we're trying to do as a program. And I think certainly coming off the energy that was last year and last season, it was fun. And we definitely left Newark feeling like, man, we left something on the table. And I think that taste was there. I think I think everybody's proud of what we did, but there's certainly that competitiveness didn't stay in the locker room in Newark. I can promise you that.
Totally. Awesome. All right. One last question for you. In the current system, are you guys recruiting me or Eric?
Oh, geez.
Well, I think the House settlement, did have a bylaw in there that if you're over 30, it costs twice as much. So there is some real salary cap monopoly that we got to pay attention to, guys. It wasn't my decision.
Well, I'm 29, so this is perfect. So it's me.
Well, by the time that you get there, are you going to be 30?
Maybe.
See, that's the stuff I got to think about, man. It's calendars, man. Calendars play defense on you sometimes.
That's a really nice way of saying that he doesn't want either of us.
I know. It's like you guys are trash.
I literally 5 minutes ago admitted to not having a knee, so I guess.
No, I filed that away. I've got a voice memo open right now that's going straight to your file. Yeah, no knees whatsoever.
I love it. Well, yeah, we didn't want to. I mean,
let me ask you guys. Actually, if I can I flip the camera around on you guys?
Absolutely.
So you guys have been there in the trenches. You guys know what BYU is all about. Like, what can we relay back to the guys of this this generation of BYU basketball? Like, what mattered to you guys that you were connected to from the teams that were before that needs to be connected, right? Like Kevin, like I feel like this last year was good for, I mean, Burgess and Nate Austin and then maybe a couple of our GAs like were part of the staff, but there was pretty much a brand new group and a lot of people that didn't really understand like the depth of BYU, not out of negative. It's just we were all different places. So I'm curious to hear from you guys. You guys have been in there. You guys have been in that locker room, that sacred brethren, that brotherhood of the team. Like, what's important? Like, what matters that guys need to understand? This is what we're all about when we put the jersey on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in here. It's something that, again, kind of I was thinking about, and I'm sure you guys are all over it already. I've been thinking about it since I went and listened to, because it was Richie, AJ, and then your brother that were speaking in this panel. And someone in the crowd asked about, you know, Kalani's got this great system and it's organized, it's structured to like go do good in the community, right? Like it's part of their NIL pursuits. And I just think like whether you have LDS guys that have been on missions or somebody who's completely like unfamiliar with the church and its mission and the connection to the school, you know, I think that fans care so much when they see how much guys care about the community, right? Like I would bet that half the people maybe more, half the people that recognize me from BYU basketball, like they want to talk about my mission. Like they love the fact that I played professionally in Italy after doing a mission there, right? Like, so I just think if there's a way that guys can continue that kind of, you know, show the fans that you care more about the community or as much about the community as you do, you know, and lifting others as you do about basketball, then they'll love you even more, right? Like it'll just perpetuate the love that they have for you. Because, you know, most people in Utah County, like they think it's awesome how much these guys are making, and it's not exciting for them though, right? Like they don't really care. It's like, yeah, it's great. This guy's going to be here a year or two, maybe 3, not so often 4, right? With how things are nowadays, he's going to make all this money. Great. But what's going to make a lasting impression, I think, is like when they find ways to just tap in with the community, you know, fans just love that, you know, they love seeing that there's depth to these guys. And like I said, you know, KY said, like, this was a conversation he had with Richie that Richie brought up. And he was like, listen, like our team needs to come together and we want to do all these off-season things so that we have this bond, this chemistry, this camaraderie. And to Richie's credit and all your guys' credit, he was like, and I want some of those things to be service-based. So you guys are on the right track. I would say that'd be, you know, something that fans appreciate and where it's a little bit different than most other places. So whether it's, you know, it might not always be a mission, right? But I guarantee Chamberlain, when he comes home, like half the questions he fields is going to be about his mission, you know?
Sure.
So whether it's a mission or just other ways to give back, I think that's a big way to carry that on, you know?
Yeah. BYU is such a special place and the fans are just like, they're just wonderful. And, you know, going along with what Eric's saying, like, I feel like the more you can just like buy into like BYU, you know, it's like, I am a Cougar. The BYU family is something that will live with you forever. It's not something that's just like, hey, I was here, I put on a BYU jersey and I move on to my next thing. Like the more you can buy into the BYU community, it really is a family. And Eric and I have experienced this. You know, I've been out for 5 years now, and it's like, you can go to Arizona, you can go to Florida, you're going to find somebody that's, you know, a BYU fan, BYU Cougars. And the more you like lean into that and just like lean in, you know, just lean into it as much as you can. It's a special place, and it will benefit you, and it can help you throughout the rest of your life. And like Cougar Nation is unbelievable. And it really is something special.
Yeah. That phrase Cougar Nation, like the nation part's really interesting. It is cool seeing it. Like I've talked to some colleagues of mine on the coaching side, and like, man, you guys travel so well. I'm like, no, actually, like they live there. They're everywhere.
Right.
Like they may travel really well, but like everywhere you go, it's there. And like to that end, I think our team, guys that aren't familiar with it, like I look at Xavier Staten's recruitment, and I think that he felt that impact right away. And it really, in a matter of 72 hours, like he just jumped all in. His whole family did. It was really cool to see like this experience like kind of wash over. We're like, yeah, okay, that's what it's about. So no,
cool.
that's good stuff, and that's the stuff too. Like for us, it's important for us to like, you know, really understand that connectivity from what's been laid before to what they can lay for the next group. And I think that's super important. And you guys know, I mean, you guys have been in locker rooms your whole life, and I think that's a really important piece. It was really cool to see, you know, last year's guys, you know, Trev's still around, Trey's still around, like those, they can't let it go because it's such a piece of who they are. And then I hope that our guys, regardless of where they come from or what their entry point is, they feel that, and then when they leave there, they know that that's always part of it. So that's I'd love to hear that. I'm glad that you guys said that, so we can kind of relay that on to those guys too.
No, that's super cool. I appreciate you asking the question. And our trick to getting people on here is telling them they're going to be on here for 15 minutes. So hopefully we didn't ruin our chances of getting you in a couple months. We'd love to have you back. But I love hearing you talk about it. I've you know, devoured every other show you've been on, and you know, obviously we've had some great conversations over the phone, but you're doing an amazing job. I could ask you a trillion questions. I think what you do on a daily basis is super interesting. So appreciate you being here and giving us some insight. It was awesome.
Happy to do it, guys. Let me know when I can come back. I'd love to do it.
You're the man, Justin.
All right, appreciate you. Oh, he dipped quick.
Got him off.
Yeah, we never let Kennedy know, but that's all right. I'm sure it'll upload just fine. All right, well, let's open it up. We had Adam Sweetland going crazy in the comments over here, but if anyone else has any other thoughts, I mean, we went a little bit over, so I don't have a ton. That was just awesome. I legitimately could sit there and ask like 50 questions, because piecing together a team like is so complicated, right? Like
totally.
He didn't even begin to explain all the dynamics. Like, you think, oh, we're BYU, we're a great brand, we're in a good conference, we're coming off a good year, we have, you know, big time players coming back and coming in and transferring in. It's like, it's a no-brainer, but it's like, obviously not, right? Like,
right.
There's other brands, there's other schools, there's other family dynamics, there's fit, you know, whether that's cultural or with you know, the way the team plays and who's returning, and people are, everything is so data driven now, and that's been an NBA staple for a while, and now it's absolutely, you know, trickled down to the college level. So I just can't even imagine like the feeling he has, you know, during the transfer portal, for example, of like, oh, we've got this guy, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, you could probably ask him, he's probably got a dozen stories this offseason going like, yeah, we had this guy committed, everything but, you know, the ink on the paper, and then the next day we saw he went somewhere else. Like, it's just how it is, which is got to be fun but also frustrating.
I know it's fascinating because like up until basically a couple of years ago, recruiting was the same.
Yeah, right.
You know, it had never changed. Like, this isn't just because like we're done and we're like, oh man, I love to see how they're doing things. Like, everything has changed completely. Like, it used to be, we're going to find, you know, the best high school kids, we're bringing them in, they're going to stay with us for 4 years, we're going to, you know, help develop them, all that stuff. And, you know, maybe we're going to pick like a grad transfer here and there and get them in and get them right away playing and stuff. And now it's just like everything's changed. It's like there's just so many complications. It's so different. NIL, money's involved. Guys are playing 1 year and dipping. It's just like, man, this is so complicated. And you could, and then on top of it, you add in all the, you know, analytics and data of how they're recruiting guys and how it fits into the program. And KY is coming from an NBA program, so there's all these things of like so much data and analytics. It's like there's just so many moving pieces that nobody really.
So much data and analytics, and then he's like, yeah, 95% of it we're not even using, right? Like, that's their contingency, meaning like, hey, we really like this kid, didn't work on the first round, but now we have him in our database. And so we have the information once he jumps into the portal, which is like an inevitable now. It's inevitable. Like, once, it's not if, it's like once he's in the portal, then we have all this information, all these data points on him. And I was probably just not explaining this very well, but like, the character stuff matters, right? I think we saw that's why the team, that was a core part of their identity last year. They were good guys. They cared truly about winning. We talked to Trey the other day, and he was like, yeah, dude, like no one cared. Any given night, we knew it was going to be someone else's night, and we were okay with that. And you and I have had that feeling, and
Totally.
It's a different level of basketball when there's that buy-in. And so the character thing matters probably the most before the X's and O's and the talent and ability and whatever. And then it's like he has probably 15 minutes here or there to like make that judgment call. You know what I mean? It's like it'd be really hard to sift through kind of what's real and what's not real.
And that
which is why I know the answer. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I know the answer to that question. And he would have recruited me. He would not have recruited you because you're a low character guy. I just want to go on.
I would have just ruined everything.
You're a bad person with bacon collared shirts.
I have kids hanging on my shirt all day. What do you expect?
That's fine.
But no, it's pretty clear to see. Like you can watch a team and be like, that guy cares more about his stuff than
for sure. That's fair. And, yeah, you can see it in film.
Well, yeah, no, but like, yeah, I guess so. But like, I'm saying, yeah, I don't know, like on a BYU team, I guess what I was referring to is like last year, it was pretty clear to see like everyone cared about each other.
Yeah.
And that's fun. And that's what makes a special team. And that's where it's like, man, this guy comes in and has 20, like I'm pumped for this dude,
Yeah.
And it's just different. And, I was talking about it today, like when you win, like everybody wins.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't like realize as much as it's like, if all we care about is winning at the end of the season, everyone gets paid more. Everyone gets a better job. Like, I guess I'm talking more pro now, but like,
no, but this is pro.
Yeah. But it's like, you're going to get in a better spot if you win games. If you care about yourself and you just go get yours, like ironically it doesn't put you in a better spot. Like winning is everything.
For some reason, that's like the hardest truth for teams to wrap their heads around, though, for whatever reason, like whether it's the way that like the average person is raised or it's just wants money or platform or whatever it is, attention comes in at the level it does in college sports and sometimes high school. Like it's just so hard for people to believe that, but it's right. True. It's like, man, you're all going to win if someone wins. I want to answer one of these questions and then I think we might wrap it up. Michael Zimmerman said BYU bench will be better than last year's bench as long as all the players buy in. So that's a loaded comment because that's a big, that's what we're talking about. That is the question mark around every team, every year, in every program, right? It's not just us, and it's not unique to BYU or the momentum and the level of players we're bringing in. It's everywhere all the time. Is like I've been on so many teams, especially pro, that like on paper is like, oh, we're gonna smack everybody, right? And then it just didn't work, right? Like the chemistry just wasn't there, and all it takes is one guy in the rotation who's like, yeah, I know what I'm worth. I'm gonna go get my money, right? And it sucks, but if they buy in, that's still a big task, and one that I'm excited to watch unfold is who even is the bench. Obviously, we talked last week with Chris. It's going to be different depending on the matchups. That's a luxury that it looks like right now we have going into the season. But last year's bench was so good. Like when I would do the BYU, the pre and post game, whatever, it felt like every storyline was the bench. They were outscoring the other bench by like triple. They were like beating the dog out of them, like 45-11, like, so yeah, if we have a bench as stacked as what it looks like our starting five, with some variability then we're going to be dominant.
Yeah. And last year's bench was interesting because we could seriously flip 5 for 5 and be productive, which is like extremely rare. You can't just like sub out your whole starting 5 and be successful. And that's what we did last year. So it's going to be interesting, if what we're going to do this year, as far as like 2 or 3 guys coming off the bench, or are we sticking with 4 or 5? Like how is this going to play out? Because it was like last year seemed to be almost like two different styles too, a little bit, like Foose gets in there. He's much different than Kaba, and they throw him on the block and he goes to work and makes stuff happen. And, Kaba's a high flyer and they're throwing lobs and doing that type of stuff. And it just kind of changed how the team played. And so it's going to be interesting to see, how they go about second rotation,
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously super excited. It's an easy time to be excited because we're not playing games. So the hype is just going to continue to build and build and build. It's funny how that also transcends team and program and country. It's just like everyone's so happy until the season starts, right? So hopefully we're building that momentum in the right way. That turns it into chemistry and it's a sustainable momentum that carries on through the season. But that was a lot of fun. Justin's a good dude, so we'll have to have him back. Like I said, I thought of a trillion questions, and hey, you did pretty good today, dude.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Kind.
Okay, well,
that's being a terrible person. That's that's good stuff.
Yeah, I kind of came after you there, but someone's got to keep you in check, bro.
That's all right. I just won't ever talk to you again.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I want. Well, that's it from us. Thanks for being here. If you catch this later on, hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe and hop on next time. We should have another one this week. We're still trying to figure out who that is, but yeah, be in these comments. It's a lot of fun kind of having some live commentary and responding to those. So be here next time. We'll announce it the day of, maybe a day before if we're on it. But yeah, this is Washed Up. I'm Eric. That's TJ, and thanks for being here.